Is the world becoming a more violent place? Many people believe so. We see wars, crime, and terrorism in the news every day. The constant barrage of negative headlines can make it seem like violence is escalating. It's easy to think we live in a uniquely violent time. The media often amplifies these fears, showing us the worst of humanity. However, the truth is more complex. The perception of increasing violence doesn't always match reality. While violence still exists, it's important to look at the bigger picture. We need to consider long-term trends and broader contexts. Surprisingly, many experts believe we are living in the most peaceful era in human history. This might seem counterintuitive given the daily news. How can this be true? What evidence supports this optimistic view? To understand, we need to compare the present to the past. Historical records provide valuable insights. By examining historical data and trends, we can get a clearer view of violence in the world today. This data helps us see beyond the headlines. This essay will explore the question of whether the world is getting more violent. We'll delve into various aspects of this complex issue. We'll examine historical and modern data, discuss possible reasons for changes in violence, and consider what the future might hold. Join us as we uncover the truth about violence in our world. For much of human history, violence was commonplace. Ancient empires rose and fell through warfare. Tribal conflicts were frequent and brutal. Life in the past was often short and dangerous. People faced threats from disease, famine, and violence on a daily basis. There were no police forces or international courts to maintain order. Historical records show staggering levels of violence. For example, some historians estimate that during the Mongol conquests in the 13th century, as much as 10% of the world's population was killed. These examples illustrate the high levels of violence that were prevalent throughout history. It is against this backdrop that we must assess violence in the modern world. While violence still exists today, there is evidence that it has declined significantly over time. Studies show that the frequency and intensity of violent acts have reduced. Wars between great powers have become rare since World War II, marking a significant shift in global relations. Rates of homicide, rape, and other violent crimes have also fallen in many parts of the world, contributing to a safer society. This progress is due to a variety of factors, including economic development, improved governance, and the spread of education. These elements work together to create a more stable environment. For example, the homicide rate in Western Europe has fallen dramatically since the Middle Ages, showcasing long-term progress. In the 14th century, the homicide rate in England was over 100 per 100,000 people, a staggering figure. Today, it is less than 1 per 100,000, illustrating a remarkable decline. These statistics suggest that despite the perception of increasing violence, the world is actually becoming a more peaceful place. The data provides a hopeful outlook for the future. Section 4. Why violence declines. What explains this decline in violence? Why has the world become a safer place over time? Several factors have contributed to making the world a safer place. These factors have worked together to create a more peaceful society. One important factor is the rise of the modern nation-state. This development has been crucial in reducing violence. With its centralized governments and law enforcement agencies, the nation-state has been more effective at maintaining order and suppressing violence than previous forms of social organization. This has led to a more stable and secure environment. Another factor is economic development. Economic growth has played a significant role in reducing violence. As countries become wealthier, their citizens have more to lose from violence and more to gain from cooperation. This shift in priorities encourages peaceful interactions. Furthermore, education and literacy have spread, making people more aware of the perspectives of others and less likely to resort to violence to solve disputes. Education fosters understanding and empathy. Finally, technological advances have also played a role. Innovations in technology have transformed how we live and interact. Medical advancements have made violence less lethal, saving countless lives, while communication technologies have made it easier to resolve conflicts peacefully. These tools help bridge gaps and foster dialogue. Section 5. Reasons for hope and concern. While the trend of declining violence is encouraging, it is not inevitable. New challenges such as climate change, resource scarcity, and technological disruption could lead to increased violence in the future. It is crucial to address these challenges proactively and to strengthen the institutions and norms that have contributed to peace. Ultimately, the future of violence is not predetermined. It depends on the choices we make today. By understanding the factors that contribute to peace and violence, we can work to create a safer and more just world for all. Despite the progress we have made, we must remain vigilant in our efforts to prevent violence and promote peace. The future depends on it.